Great to see some pre-war motors out and about today.
The South of France and just used it to go onto his yacht and back again.
Well, this Crosseley Six from 1927 is just fantastic, isn't it? Today on Car Traction, you join me at a rapidly filling Old Piggery Cafe, and of course the car park is the host of today's Cars and Caffeine meet. Now, there have been a few structural changes to the Cars and Caffeine meet recently, and today's meeting is for pre-90s only, so no car from post-1990 will be turning up today, which means this meet is totally reserved for the proper quintessential classics, such as this wonderful classic British car that is the Shadow 1 Rolls Royce there, and just behind me is a gorgeous 1940s Daimler. We've seen a lot more older cars today, as we do have the age cut-off, but one of my favourites already, and we've only been here possibly an hour or so far, we're in the pickup today, is this absolutely gorgeous pre-war Riley, like a Riley 9, Riley 10 or something, 4-seat Tourer with the roof up. Well, that is just beautifully original, isn't it? The beautiful paint flaking off the top of the bonnet. The interior being a Riley, it's a pre-selected gearbox. There is a MGB and a Jensen Interceptor just over there as well. But yeah, here's the wonderful interior. This gorgeous Riley. We're seeing so many unique classic cars and vintage cars today that we haven't seen before, and due to the age cut-off for today's car meet, we will be seeing hopefully a few more pre-war cars, such as this gorgeous Riley, mixed in with a few regulars, such as the Austin A35 complete with side pipes. Now let's have a little look at the muscly rear end, don't take that out of context, of this gorgeous Jaguar E-Type. This is a sort of a lightweight replica, I think. It's a genuine Series 1 E-Type. As you can see, it's left-hand drive and there's a pair of gorgeous clocks there. Bit of original timing gear. Those look fantastic on the dashboard of this E-Type. There's also a Porsche 911 Targa over there. We'll be having a look at all the classic cars at today's car meet, but I just thought I'd have a look at this fantastic E-Type Roadster with a hardtop on, body colour hardtop, which just looks so cool. 3.8 or 4.2 straight six could be in this one, both different sizes or iterations of the wonderful Jaguar XK straight six engine. Got the quick release fuel filler built into the boot lid. This is a proper racer, isn't it? Look at the size of those wheels with the knockoff spinners. Left-hand drive as well, very cool. It's just a stunning car, that. E-Types are absolutely beautiful, and especially debumpered in a bit of a lightweight, evocative. You had the E-Type lightweights, which are like the period racing cars, and this is sort of a replica based on a genuine E-Type of one of those. That just looks so cool, that. Just next to the lightweight E-Type in a bit of a unofficial red section here is this Renault 5 GT Turbo. Great looking interior in this. This is in super cool condition, this car actually. Of course, you had the likes of the mid-engined turbos, Renault 5s in the likes of the WRC. This is obviously the road going still front engine, but turbocharged 4-cylinder in this Renault 5, looking super cool and very clean. Very cool little rear bumper setup, yeah. Very sharp on the back of that. Here's a Mark III Toyota Supra. I've seen this one a few times before. On the end of this row is this fantastic little Wolseley Hornet, complete with a little supercharger under there. This is a very cool little resto, well, not resto mod, just a little modified classic car here. Such a clean car in the interior, sliding windows, Wolseley Hornet originally, I suppose, would have been one of the less sporty, more comfortable variants of the mini platform, but this one is quite the opposite now. It's got a supercharged E-Series in it, which does sound very nice, and it's a very nicely presented car. That TVR here, I think this is an S2 TVR, and a very booming 6-cylinder engine. I heard it when it came in. No badges on the back, but I think it is an S2. Have a little look around here. This is a fantastic Lancia Fulvia race car. This sounded very, very purposeful on the way in. There's the interior. Only the one seat in this one. This one actually is a little racer. I know a bit about this car because it's like the granddads of one of my mates at school, I think. Of course, the Lancia Fulvia does get raced, this car, a little bit. It's a V4 up front, which makes a very iconic lumpy sound. That just looks fantastic, doesn't it? The Italian stripes over the whole car. Competitor in the CSCC and the Adams and Page. You can see all the Adams and Page and classic racing action in my CSCC Alton Park video that went live a few weeks ago. If classic racing cars are your thing, and this Fulvia certainly is my thing as well. MG Midget Mark 1 here, the nice little chrome grille on the front of this one. Square arch though, quite an early square arch car, I think. Most of these were usually round arch. You can see the very compact, you could say, interior. I think this is the first of the midgets, this one. Don't worry, that's not panel fitment, the door's just open. Yeah, that's a very nice little car in white there. And here's an Austin A35. Bright orange with a blue stripe. This one does have a single side pipe on it. A35 originally would have had a 948cc A series, but this one's a little bit modified. Got some extra dials in there as well. And this one recently, I think, took part in the Monte Carlo Rally, a charity run or something. Does sound very cool, this one. Tyre writing. There's the cheeky side pipe. And under there, just under that little flap, would be a 948cc A series, which will probably be quite vocal due to that down there. Here's the Series 1 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow in red. These have a 6.75 litre V8 up front, matched up to a 3-speed auto box. Looks actually very cool in red. You really don't see many of these in red at all, but yeah, that looks very sleek in that. Just next to that, in a fantastic shade of green, I've got to say, is this Porsche 914. This is a 4-cylinder car. Porsche did also produce the 914/6, which had the 911 flat 6 in the back, which made for a bit of a crazy car, but this is perhaps the less extreme 914 with basically a Beetle originated 4-cylinder. Yeah, very cool little car there. Now here's this fantastic 1940s Daimler. Now I think this is either a DB17 or a DB18, I can't quite remember. Being a Daimler, we've got a pre-selector gearbox all the way over there on the right side of the interior on this one. What a lovely interior it is as well. Very nice original seats. Of course, being a Daimler, this will have a very quiet straight 6 engine up front, lovely chrome around the back. Got the trafficators on the side as well. You can see the pre-selector gearbox setup just over there. There's the beautifully cracked leather on the original seats. I think it's a DB17, this one. I think it is. 1940s era Daimler. Great to see it out and about today. Here at Combermere Cars and Caffeine. Just next to that is a Jensen Interceptor SP. These have a huge American V8 up front in them, of course. Another 3-speed auto, I think, in this one. SP standing for 6-pack, which was like a special type of carburettor, I think, for some of the Jensen Interceptors. And also on a K plate is this white MG BGT. Very shiny chrome wires, a recessed grille model. So what's that, 71, 72, 73, somewhere. I bet it'll be one of those years. Modified steering wheel, the Motolite steering wheel on the front of that one. Gleaming car there. Morgan Plus 8 over here, complete with perhaps alloy wheels or something. You can see these little things here are weights in order to balance the wheel. Plus 8, of course, having a fairly large V8 up front. Is it a Rover V8 or like a slightly modified Rover V8. I don't know too much about Morgans, I'm afraid. That one looks very nice and red. I've actually got a Morgan pedal car at home, which I've had since I was about 9. And here's this fantastic Rolls Royce. Now I can't tell you who this has been bodied by. Cars like this were sold from the manufacturer just with the sort of running gear, and then people like H.J. Mulliner, Park Ward would body it and sort of put their own body on it. I'm not sure whether Rolls-Royce made their own bodies, but this is probably 1930s era Rolls-Royce. The lovely number plate enclosed, sorry about the lens cap guys, enclosed behind the glass there. What a swish car that is. Absolutely fantastic. Wheel cover as well for the spare wheel. So clean inside that, isn't it? Clearly retrimmed. Yeah, what an incredible car that is. Big 6-cylinder in front, I'm pretty sure in this. Very, very sleek. Right, I'm currently with the owner of this fantastic E-Type. Now this, I see, is left-hand drive, so a US spec car is this originally?
Yeah, it was.
Where in America was this?
It was imported into New York.
Oh, I see.
Not really sure who had it in America, but the history of it's well known from when it went to France. So it was modified by some what they call artilleurs in France, who were sort of quite well known in the Jaguar world down in the south of France.
Oh, nice.
So it was owned by a guy who had a yacht in the south of France and just used it to go onto his yacht and back again. So it really had quite an easy life. And then for some reason, about 10 years afterwards, they decided to sort of, refurbish it again. It's been signed by this guy called Boozleneck. So it
Was that his name, was it then?
Yeah.
So is it a 3.8, 4.2?
4.2.
So is this a series 1.5?
It's strictly
E-Type?
speaking, it's a series 1. So 1967.
Oh, right.
So it's right at the end of the first series.
So it's sort of originally a standard one, and then it's sort of modified with this sort of lightweight treatment. So what sort of mods have been going on with this?
Well, the main mod you can see, I think you filmed me earlier, was the sort of the semi-lightweight look.
Yes.
And then you've got that Monza fuel tank on the rear.
Oh, yes.
Probably one of the most striking features is the way that they've done these rear wings, and the shape of it is just so perfect.
Yes, it's a really muscular look, isn't it?
And they, for whatever reason, they decided to sort of do this sort of Wallace and Gromit look and stick the rivets on.
Yeah, I like the look of that, to be honest. It's like sort of vintage aeroplanes.
Yeah, it does make it different.
What's it like to drive then?
It's really, really fantastic. It just goes like stink because it's got the low ratio back axle.
Yeah.
Or the high ratio, wherever you want to look at it. But basically, you have to more revs to the mile per hour. And it's also now it's got a 5th gear, so it's got a 5-speed Tremec gearbox in it now. And the 5th gear is very usable.
So sort of an overdrive sort of thing, is it?
Yeah. Whereas before it always seemed to be over revving.
Yes.
Because it was obviously designed for sort of top speed of 55 miles.
So has it recently had a 5-speed swap in it?
I put that in about a year and a half ago.
Oh, so did you buy it like this, pretty much?
More or less. I put in
Wow.
a 1-2-3 ignition, electronic ignition system in it, which is annoyingly I didn't get the Bluetooth version. I just got the.
Oh, I've heard about those. Yeah.
Well, there's a little dial that you can change the settings for.
Yes, I've heard about those.
You get about 15 settings, but the Bluetooth one's much better because you can actually do it while you're driving along.
Right.
Because some of the settings actually just don't work when it's ticking over.
Right.
And you get a huge amount of backfire.
I love the look of those like old clocks there, sort of like old timing gear.
Well, if they were original, sort of, from the 50s and 60s, they would be worth, I think there's something in the order of 10k each.
Yeah.
But even those sort of reproduction ones, they're sort of, I don't know, between 500 to
I'm sure, yeah. They look
each.
gorgeous on there. They're so nice, that. Looks so much nicer than sort of like a digital timing setup or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very tastefully modified car. Next to roll in is the Droop Snoot Forenza. We'll just have a little look on this row, because on the end here is a Tomaso Pantera, sort of 70s era, quite similar styling in a way to sort of the likes of the Miura, I think, in a way, but Tomaso is obviously a completely different company, and Tomasos, I believe, have huge American V8s in them, so I think somewhere under that mesh this will have a huge mid-mounted American V8 in it, I think. I'm not too good on the Tomasos. And then you had the likes of the Mangusta, which was the sort of wide body, really crazy one, but this is the more sort of standard one. But I mean, that is just such a cool colour, sort of green like the likes of the Lamborghini Miura. They just look so fantastic in left-hand drive. Yeah, some fantastic looking alloy wheels as well. That is such a cool shape on that Tomaso. Just next to that is a Porsche 911 Targa. Seen that one quite a few times before. And Wolseley Hornet van. Now originally this shouldn't really exist. They're minivans and they're Wolseley Hornets, but there are no Wolseley Hornet vans, so this is a Wolseley Hornet front modified onto a minivan, which is quite an interesting mod. Now this one's a bit of a curiosity, some form of 1990s, 89 actually, Cadillac here. You can see a transversely mounted, I think, V8 there, which is quite interesting. So we've got the cam cover there. So yeah, transversely mounted Cadillac this one is, an Alante convertible. There you go, 1989 Cadillac Alante convertible. I'm pretty sure it's imported, it's left-hand drive. Puzzled me initially, that's probably one of the rarest cars here today, to be quite honest. Just next to that is a Mark 1 Fiesta. This is a Super Sport, so actually a really rare variant of the Mark 1 Fiesta. Very cool seat pattern. Yeah, super original car. This sort of thing is very, very desirable now. That looks very nice with the decals down the side. Just next to that is a Hillman Super Imp, very low on these steel wheels, which I've got to say is a very good look. Very nice black leather interior on that. Really sharp looking car there. Just next to the superb Super Imp is a Triumph TR4A. Seen this car plenty of times before. Just next to that is a Ford Escort Mexico 1600 GT here. I think our leaflets are very kindly being distributed. They are available at the front of the 47 half-ton Dodge pickup here. I think they're being very kindly distributed by the owner of this Mark 1 Ford Escort with a Lotus engine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They used to be, do you know the origin? Yeah.
We'll have a little look at this pairing of minis now. Now this is quite a modified car, modified front splitter, different sills, bit of a wide body as well in this one, so probably wheel spaces as well. Here's a twin carb, twin SUs actually on this A series engine. It could be any size, like a 948 or something like that. Probably around a litre, as this is a bit of a sporty one. So yeah, very, very extensively modified little mini here. Just next to that is a very unmodified mini. This is probably quite a late one actually, because I think these wheels only came on quite late minis. 4-speed manual in this one with freewheeling. Yeah, that's a very original little car there. Quite an interesting colour as well. And there's the Wolseley Hornet van. That's a really fascinating thing, that. The second Porsche 911 Targa of the day is manoeuvring into its space next to the stunning Tomaso Pantera. Just next to that is a fantastic little Alfa Sud, quite a late one this one. Right-hand drive though, so an original UK market Alfa Sud here. Quite a sporty little hatchback here, 1.3, perhaps a twin cam being an Alfa Romeo. Cool little spoiler on the back of that as well. That's a really cool little car, that I do like that, in bronze. Just next to that, Triumph TR6, the first of the day here. There's usually quite a few classic Triumphs at any classic car show or car meet like today's Cars and Cafe at Combermere, courtesy of the Triumph Sports 6 Club or Club Triumph. There's only the one TR6 here today. Saying that, there's a earlier TR4A here, second TR4A of the day. Such a lovely interior on this car. It looks really nice on the Triumph steel wheels with hubcaps as well. You don't see many, most of them on wires, but I do really like the steel wheels on this TR4A. And just beyond the subtly modified, or not at all subtly modified GMC, we have a Droop Snoot Vauxhall Firenze Coupe. Seen that car many times, and an MGA over here. One of the later production cars due to this style of grille. Green 1600 Mark II. It's got the earlier style of sprung steering wheel on it though, which looks very nice. Black interior, quite sharp, and there's another MGA just over there in white with some nice little spot lamps on the front. As you can see, we've got these later style of lights on the Mark II MGAs. It's the Mark. It would actually be handy if the other one parks up next to this, because we can see the later rear lights on this one, and then the earlier rear lights on that one that are just sort of like more moulded into the body perhaps than these ones which are sort of mounted sideways. Triumph Stag with roof down in green. That's another car I haven't seen before. I've got to say today the meter's not usually as big as if it was including the post-90s car, but I've got to say the atmosphere is just so nice. We've seen so many new cars we haven't seen before on the channel, and the atmosphere is just so nice. Usually this would all be crowded with sort of modern supercars and stuff, which isn't really our sort of thing, but yeah, it's just so nice having the proper sort of pre-war cars like that Riley turning up, like that Rolls Royce, like that E-Type, cars we haven't seen before, which includes this little Peugeot 205 GTI over here, a 1.6, so it's the smaller engine when compared to the 1.9. And there's the very sleek Triumph Stag in green. Well, this Crosseley Six from 1927 is just fantastic, isn't it? This is the car from the Combermere estate. It's owned by the owners of all the land around here, to be quite honest. And this is just fantastic. I'll have a really close look at this one. Got the gorgeous Brooks case on the back. So it's a 6-cylinder, this one. Gorgeous interior, so nice and original in there. It's just absolutely gleaming, this car. Look at that. Are those the door handles, are they, for the rear passengers? Yeah, they're so cool, those are.
Youthful assistant approves of this one. Magnificent interior.
It'd probably be quite smooth to drive, wouldn't it? Big 6-cylinder, you know, yeah. Fire extinguisher man behind the spare tyre there. That's just a magnificent car. Crossleys were just some of the most advanced cars of their time. Got the gorgeous enamelled plaque. There's bonnet ornament. And this gorgeous 1920s Crossley. Huge drum brakes on the front. Surprised it's got front brakes actually. A lot of pre-war cars just had brakes on the rear, but perhaps this one's a bit more advanced. It's got brakes on the front as well. Spare wheel also on this side. That's just a gorgeous vintage car. Just next to the MGB GT is a new arrival, and I think this is a very modified and chopped Model Y Ford. So 1934, perhaps indicated by the registration. Ford Model Y here. It's clearly been chopped at the roof. Nice paint on it actually. I'm not sure I'm a fan of chopping, to be honest, but I do like the paint on this one. It's got a modified dash as well, which I'm not really a fan of, but to be honest I like the red painted wheels. Some very nice little brake lights at the back as well. Proper sort of period modified car this. At least it's sort of quite in keeping with what was happening in the period. But yeah, I love the look of the paint. The pinstriping super cool on that, and the red elements are very nice. Great little lineup of classic British sports cars here. Now there are a pairing of Austin Healey Sprites. Got the Mark I Healey Sprite, which is a frog eye here with the decal registration. The owner of this car also has a Triumph TR3A, and just next to that is perhaps a Mark III, I think, Austin Healey Sprite. This one I think has a bit of a tweaked 1275 CCA series in it, so it's quite a quick little car that. And I think the frog eye doesn't have as large a capacity version of the A series engine, so this is probably a 1275. I think it's a little bit modified in this, maybe somewhere closer to 1 litre or something. I'm not too good at these frog eyes actually. But yeah, that's a lovely car. Sliding windows, of course. This is effectively the Mark I of the Austin Healey little sports cars.
You love them.
Now here's this fantastic Morgan Aero. Now this is not actually a car we've seen before, because the owner of this car has a very similar also Morgan Aero, and of course he has two, but he has one road car and he has one racer, and this is the VSCC race car out of the two that he owns, which he has got here today. So this one apparently on a good day makes about 100 brake horsepower from that V-twin engine on the front, which would be pretty mad in something this light. Of course, being a Morgan, it has hand throttle. And there's the relatively open exhaust. It does sound thunderous, this. Twin AMAL carbs feeding, sorry for the lens cap again, feeding each cylinder. That's just a fantastic car. So this is the fast one out of the two. We have seen the other one here before, which is not slow at all, but this is the even more tuned up Morgan Aero. Off goes the silent Rolls Royce. Cannot hear the engine in that at all. One of the lovely little minis is off now. Very nice in maroon, that actually, nice contrast with the white roof. Mark 1 Ford Escort Mexico is also next to leave. An original bubble arch Mark 1 Escort there. A lot of those of the bubble arches are pretty much just filler, but that's an original shell actually, so probably actually quite rare. Another pretty much silent car is also off now. This is a Daimler DB17 or 18, I think. Probably more likely to be a 17, but another very quiet engined car there. Here's the newly arrived Lotus Esprit S2. Off goes the MGB GT and the Jensen Interceptor SP, both from the same year, those cars, but very different cars. Both GTs, I suppose you could say, but they're just very different ways of going about it. Well, as you can see, the Old Piggery Cafe car park is looking pretty deserted, and that is because it is edging nearer to 12 o'clock and people are starting to go, and I think I'll very soon wrap up today's walk around of all the lovely classic cars at the pre-90 edition of the Cars and Caffeine at Combermere. It's actually had a really nice vibe, you could say, to this event, just being the proper old stuff, and I think just having a pre-1990 sort of cap on the cars does help attract some of the beautiful old cars we've never seen before, such as this wonderfully patinated Riley over here. So if you enjoyed this bit of a different slant on the usual walk around of the Cars and Caffeine car meets, more of a classic car meet today at Combermere, then please do let me know in the comments what your favourite car was. Mine probably had to be like the Tomaso Pantera or this Riley. I know it's an eclectic mix, isn't it? So yeah, please let me know what your favourite car was. Make sure to subscribe, as there is every Sunday at 7:30 AM GMT. I'll provide you with a new automotive upload of some description, so make sure to subscribe to ensure you don't miss out on those. And if you can't wait another week, then we're edging nearer to 200 past videos on the channel now, all of which concern classic cars, which of course is what this channel is all about. So make sure to check that out, and I think I'm going to say goodbye now with the interior of this fantastic VSCC Morgan Aero race car. Thanks for watching.